What is up everyone, Movie Ryan back again with another review. This is going to be for the 2021 film Last Night in Soho, and this is directed by Edgar Wright and stars Thomasin, McKenzie, Anya Taylor-Joy and Matt Smith. Now this tells the story of a young fashion designer who sets out to progress her career in London. However, she soon starts to have visions of the life of an aspiring singer during the late 1960s around the location in Soho that she is staying in. I do suggest going into Last Night in Soho as blind as possible, but like all my new movie release reviews, I'm going to do my utmost best to keep this as spoiler free as possible. So let's get into it. Now, I didn't know too much about Last Night in Soho myself going in. The trailers didn't give away too much, and I purposely avoided the third trailer because I just wanted to go in and see if this movie would surprise me. And after seeing it, I feel like this is a story that could have been done by any director who has a lot less imagination than Edgar Wright does. However, with him on board and having this story of Eloise played by Thomasin McKenzie being able to see visions from the past instead of it just playing out very generic, it just adds a very unique twist on things. And boy, does it work a treat. The storytelling here is phenomenal. The pacing is perfect. I always wanted to know what was going to happen after each scene ended. I was so intrigued and invested, and the movie just flowed in such a good way. And Edgar Wright not only takes Eloise, our main character, and the viewer through a couple of visions or dreams here and there, but he transports us to another time period, being the 60s of London. When she is immersed there, so are we. The movie jumps back and forth to present day too, but wow, did he make this time period look incredible. I mean, the whole movie looks good, but Soho in 1967 looked extra special, and not only that, but it seemed to capture the vibe of what it must have been like back then. I mean, the whole visual aspect was just a treat anyway. Seeing Thunderball advertised at the cinema back in the 60s there, or these black cabs just whizzing through the streets, it was just really, really pretty on the eye and a joy to look at. And speaking of joy, Miss Anya Taylor only adds to this as the main focus of this time period. I mean, she just has a screen presence like no other actress working today. She looks like a superstar. She acts in movies like a pure professional. She just has so much swagger about her. I'm going to go as far to say she's actually my favourite actress working today, especially after seeing Last Night in Soho. And this was just another astounding performance by her once again. The movie is also helped along massively here by the costume, hair and makeup design. Like Cruella, which came out previously this year, that was a film about a fashion designer, and there were so many great costume designs in that movie because it fitted with the theme of that film, and it's exactly the same here. This is a story about a fashion designer going to London, and I just think that it wouldn't have worked as well if everyone was just averagely dressed or just wearing these plain clothes and stuff. People had to stand out to go with what the story is saying, and kudos to the crew here for making Anya Taylor-Joy and Thomasin McKenzie really, really look the part. And coming back to McKenzie, I thought she was fantastic in this film. She has done so many good performances that I've seen her in. Jojo Rabbit, I thought she was the standout in Old, and she just takes centre stage here and runs with it. I thought her character being this very fragile person and, you know, very soft-spoken just added so much to her personality, but it also made us latch onto her. And when things were going down for her, I just wanted to jump through the screen and give her a little hug and say, everything's going to be okay. Just keep pursuing your dream. So she was a very unique character and a very interesting one. And yeah, you definitely root for it in this movie. Now going into this film, from the couple of trailers I did see, I was getting Black Mirror, San Junipero vibes. If you've seen that episode, you'll know what I'm talking about. But after coming out the film, it kind of reminded me of a modern take on a David Lynch movie. Now, I have no idea whatsoever if Edgar Wright has took any inspiration from that filmmaker whatsoever, but with Lynch being one of my favourites, I was all up for these little moments. But speaking of Edgar Wright, he has made such a great movie here. I mean, the way he has directed it is absolutely phenomenal. Added to the visuals is the filmmaking, and it all just comes together so well. There are so many great camera shots and so many great angles that he gets. Nice little touches here and there, but never too much, and it never ever feels self-indulgent. This might be my favourite Edgar Wright film. I was having such a good time with this film, and I remember thinking halfway through, please let this end on a good note, because it'll be such a shame if it doesn't. And I had no idea how they were going to do it, so I was kind of nervous. But even though the third act does drop in quality, just a little tiny bit there, not much, just a little bit, it still had a very satisfying ending. It was one that I didn't see coming, which just made it that extra bit better there. After watching Baby Driver, you might expect a decent soundtrack because Edgar Wright played some bangers in that one, but I think he might have bettered himself here. It just, when I go back to talking about the flow of the movie, the soundtrack helps along with that massively too. Everything just is mixed so well. Some of the song choices here were perfect, and I've had Downtown by Anya Taylor-Joy stuck in my head ever since watching this film. Now I have a mixed thought here on the film, and it's regarding Michael Ajayo's character. This guy's performance was so bizarre at times. Like, I didn't know if his acting was bad or brilliant. I don't know if he got told to act a little bit strange, but it somehow worked for the film's benefit. It just seemed to fit for some strange reason. A fluke maybe? When the Blu-ray comes out, I can look at the extras and see if we have cast interviews, and that should explain it. Now, I must admit the CGI at certain points in this film did take me out of it a little bit. I don't think CGI is a good idea when a film is trying to be creepy, and someone needs to tell the studios that, because I don't think ever in my life I have found CGI to be scary. So that was a little bit of a negative there. However, it's not every day you see a film like Last Night in Soho. I really appreciated this unique take from Edgar Wright. I got so lost and invested and immersed into this story. I just had such a good time, and Edgar Wright is building up a nice little CV of movies now, isn't he? I'm just going to go ahead and rate this movie now. I'm going to give Last Night in Soho an 8.5 out of 10. Sometimes movies exceed your expectations, and this one definitely did. Okay, at the end of these reviews, I always like to leave a little fun fact. Now, a fun fact for Last Night in Soho is that Thomasin McKenzie actually dropped out of Top Gun Maverick to star in this film. I haven't seen Top Gun Maverick yet, but I'm willing to bet that that was the correct decision, because she was so good in this movie. Okay guys, I hope you all enjoyed this review. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Got a lot more reviews coming, lots more videos, and if you want to comment about Last Night in Soho, leave it down below, and I'll reply to every single one of you, I promise. Take it all easy, guys. See you all in the next video.